Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. Today we are doing my March reading wrap up. So, I read 7 books in March. 5 were fantasy, 1 was romance, and 1 was lit fic. So let's get into it. I will first of all talk about the 2 DNFs that I had this month. So, the first one is Set on You by Amy Lee. This is, I think it's like a 3-book series following different influences, I want to say. This one's following a Fitstagrammer, and I don't know what he is. Was he a fireman? I don't know. I got 52 pages into it, and then I was like, I can't read this anymore because they were both insufferably immature. And she's meant to be like 27, 28, and he's meant to be, I think, early 30s, maybe late 20s. And I was like, nah, you're both old enough to know better. Let's not be petty and immature. And I just couldn't get into it, honestly. So I did DNF that one, and I've decided to unhaul it, as well as X's and O's, which is the next book I have in that series. I don't think the writing was really for me, and it's just not the kind of romance I like to read now. So I've decided to unhaul those. And the next DNF I had, both of these were in the same video. If you watch my Reader or Unhaul It episode 1 video that I posted last month, you will see more thoughts. But I read Boy Part by Eliza Clark. I only got 107 pages in before I was like, I can't read anymore. And that is because there are unlikable characters and there are severely detest. I want to throw this character off the Empire State Building characters. And what was her name? Irina, I think, something like that. I wanted to throw her off the tallest building in the world. I wanted to throw her off Mount Everest. I literally hated her with every fibre of my being. And it pains me because this book is set in Newcastle. She is a Geordie, the author is a Geordie as well. And I myself am a Geordie. And listen, a lot of this book had like a lot to do with drugs and stuff. And I won't lie, there is quite a heavy drug culture in Newcastle, which I don't like about Newcastle, I'll be honest. I'm not super patriotic about Newcastle, I'll be honest with you. I think if my mum wasn't here, I don't necessarily think I would live here. But yeah, it was really hard to read, and I went on to Goodreads to try and convince myself maybe if I saw a bunch of positive reviews it would help me to keep going. And all I saw was a bunch of problematic stuff that the character later on does, and I decided, no, I can't do this to myself. It's different when you're not meant to like a character, but the plot's interesting, the story and the character progression is interesting, but I wasn't invested in this character at all. I just thought she was awful, like scum of the earth, worst human being ever, just terrible. So I wasn't bothered about the story because there wasn't really much story by the looks of things. I don't know. So I DNF'd that book. Anyway, the first book I actually read was The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk by Chris Broadbent. So this was me, like, the last book I read last month was The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. So the first book I read this month was The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. And unfortunately, I think this book suffered what the last book suffered, which was I just couldn't concentrate at all while reading this, and I feel like I just didn't take it in very well at all. I still did rate it a 4 stars, and I've given it like a 2, 3, I don't know what that's meant to be. I think that's a 3 chili pepper rating, but I don't know. Listen, I go by vibes when I rate any book, never mind the spiciness. Yeah, my concentration was not good. My concentration was not being good all month. I've only decided today on the ratings of 4 out of the 3 books. 4 out of the 7 books I read this month, because I literally did not have a clue what I thought about some of them. I just had no thoughts, head empty. I was reading, nothing went in. I don't know what was wrong with me this month. It was purely me. It's got nothing to do with the books I read, because I enjoyed a majority of them. Like, my lowest rating is a 3 stars. I just haven't, like, my brain's not been in it this month, and I don't know why. So I do think it impacted how much I can really tell you about this book, I'll be honest with you. But I did enjoy it, I remember that. I really like Carissa Broadbent's writing. I really like the worlds she creates. And listen, so many people on Goodreads don't like Asar. I don't know how. Asar is literally the kind of man who is like, I will tear apart the universe to be with you. And man was I think he literally broke through from the world of the living to like the world of the dead. Like, he literally broke a hole through the doorway And I'm like, that is, if that's not like one of the hottest thing a man can do. Like, I want the kind of man who is like, no, 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 I will tear apart the universe to find you, literally. And Asar is that kind of man. Okay, this man just absolutely adores her. He is obsessed with her in the nicest, healthiest way, can we just say. And so I love him. I find Misha was a little bit too much damsel in distressy in this book, but I still really like Misha, and I think she's been through so much. And the only thing I think that she did that I didn't like was how she treated Rain. Was just so mean. Poor guy. I kept wanting to tear up because I was like, this guy just loves you so much. Why am I tearing up now thinking about it? I love Rain as a character, and I love Rain and Misha's like sibling like relationship. Like, he loves her so much as a sister, and he's been through so much with her, they've been through so much together, and for her to keep so many things to herself, like the fact that she, oh, I nearly said a spoiler there, the fact something happened to her and he didn't even know about it until so far in, like, it really broke my heart, because Rain is the kind of man that he just wants to, like, his way of showing love is by being there for the people that he loves. Like, he's ride or die, loyal to a fault. Like, so for him to be denied that by Misha was so sad, and that was probably the worst thing she did in this book, to be fair. There's a couple of things I could say, but it's the second book in the duology, and it's also technically the fourth book, fifth, sixth in the series. There's things I can say, but I don't want to say in case it's spoilers, but I really like this duet. I think the Nightborn duet is slightly more my favourite, but I did really enjoy this duology and this couple. I'm very intrigued as to how the next duology is going to go. I don't love Septimus, don't get me wrong, but I think he could be a really interesting MMC and love interest, and I think it's going to be a bit darker. I think the gods are going to be even more involved in that one than they were in this one, and they were very heavily involved in this one. And I'm interested to see how Nyaxia is going to do, because Nyaxia is like a crazy woman, but she is iconic. So we'll see. Next, the only successful book from the Read It or Unhaul It video I put up was Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellors, which is funny because this is a book that I DNF'd about 70-ish pages through in 2023 because I just could not get into this book. This time though, it must have been right book, wrong time back then, because I rated it as 4 stars. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I found chapter 1 to be like a perfect opening chapter where the writing would just really hooked me. I love the writing in this book, but it also made me kind of think, oh, like this couple, like I'm really intrigued, like I really like them, they've got really good banter. And then you get further into the book and you're like, okay, the cracks are starting to show. The flaws are coming in, and now I'm not so sure if this couple should really be together. And it's just, this is the perfect example. I read this and then I started Boy Parts. There's a lot of like drug culture in this book as well, so I think it was just because I myself am very much not that way inclined. Reading 2 books in a row about problematic people and drugs being involved, I just couldn't do it the second time. But also, like, there's a difference between this is how you do unlikable characters right, and Boy Parts was just, this is evil incarnate. I hate this character, I don't actually want to be in her head anymore, I can't read this. So like, that was a difference. Like, I think there was only one likable character in this book, in my opinion, and that is Santiago, because man is just wanting to lose weight, get healthy again, and find love. A lot of people like Eleanor. She only has 2 chapters. I didn't love her because I'm like, girl, you're falling in love with a married man, like you're a little bit problematic yourself, I don't know. But none of the characters are good in this. This book traumatized me as well. This book, I've not stopped thinking about that fucking sugar glider since I read this book, and I finished it on the 11th. Like, it was a lot. It was a lot. It's, like I say, if this is more of a character study, not a whole lot happens plot-wise. If you like reading books about unlikable characters, going about their lives, being problematic, having some character development, having, you know, then I think you'll enjoy this book. Then I read Jasper Vale by Debbie Perry. This is the 4th book in the Eden series, and it is my least favourite so far. I've rated it a 4 stars. I'm very conflicted about how I feel about Jasper, because on one, like, towards the end of the book, he is absolutely fine. He's a great MMC, like, he does something very heroic at the end, and it redeems him a bit, but he is so bad at communicating. It was painful, like to an immature level, to a point where he just came across as a dick for the majority of the book. And don't get me started, okay, this is a marriage, like this is an accidental marriage. It's not marriage of convenience, it's not even fake marriage, it's accidental marriage. And when he meets his wife's family after they've decided to give it a go for a few months for the sake of both, they both have an end goal for why they want to stay married for a little while. When they've decided to stay married and he meets Eden's family, meets his parents, he is such a dick. And I get he has a horrible family. I can't even say he has a horrible family. Like, his family aren't mean. They are just so self-centered and neglectful, and they just don't think. They don't use their brains. He's not got a nice family, and I understand that. But he is a grown-ass man. This guy is like in his 30s. You are old enough to know how to treat people with respect, especially when it's your wife's family. I just didn't like how he acted. So he is like one of the least romantic MOCs I think I've ever read about. And he was very much like thinking with his dick a lot of the time, and I don't know. But I love Eloise. And I really liked the side plot we had of something going on in the Eloise hotel, and that character there. So I like that, and her writing is just so easy to read, to binge, to enjoy. So I still really enjoyed it. I just don't like Jasper, which is a shame because I really liked the bits of Jasper we saw in Garnet Flats, and I thought he was going to be such a good MMC, and then he was just standoffish, terrible at communicating, and dickish half the time. So the last 4 books I read was the same series, so I'm going to kind of talk about them together, and I read them on Kindle. I read the Compelling Fates saga by Sophia St. Germain. I have a lot of thoughts and none at the same time. I'll be honest with you, because I read all 4 in just one go, pretty much like just start to finish, read the series. Bits have kind of gone together for me where I can't remember which book certain things happened in. They've blended into one. I basically read it as one long omnibus book. A Chunks of Sweet and Deadly, I did rate a 4.5 stars. Thoroughly enjoyed this book. We have trials, we have, like, it's a very new take on trials, because the whole point is that whoever is going to become the regent of Elau has to be put through trials to show that they understand the struggles that the wider people of Elau have had to go through, might have to go through, things like that. So they have, like, the purpose of the trials is very different to anything I've read before, and I really enjoyed that. This series is also a love triangle in the first book, and at first I was reading this and I was like, I knew straight away who the endgame partner was going to be. It was no question who it was going to be. But I was reading it and I was like, I don't like that guy, I like this guy instead, and I still like this guy. And I ended up very happy with the romance that was Endgame, and I really enjoy that couple. But I still love the first guy. And I thought the tension and the romance in book 1 was so good. He was, normally with a love triangle, a lot of the ones I've read, there's a very obvious person who it's going to be, and it's dragged out for so long, but you just know who it's going to be. Or you would have one person is like the first love interest, he ends up being terrible, and then she gets with someone else and he's endgame. And that wasn't the case. It wasn't drawn out, but it also wasn't that he did anything wrong and he was terrible and didn't deserve to be with her anymore, or that, you know, it wasn't going to be anyway. Like, I don't know, it's not like a Diabound situation, and it's not like a Hunger Games situation. It's like very different. So I was very conflicted at first, but like I said, I am very happy with how the relationship ended up and who it was with. I was happy with that. Book 1 I gave a 4.5. Book 2, A Promise So Bold and Broken, I gave a 4.25. This is where we're getting the second romance. I really enjoyed it. It was a bit slower, but there's like a looming threat rather than something happening right now. A Bond, Sophia's and Fragile, Book 3, I gave a 3.75 because there was the starting of certain storylines that continued into Book 4 that I was like, I don't enjoy this. And then we had Book 4, which I rated at 3 stars, A Fate So Dark and Delicate. The reason I rated book 4 at 3 stars is I was so disappointed. I genuinely thought we were getting to the ending and I thought, oh my god, the author's done something that's really bold, really brave, and I'm loving the decision that she's made doing this. And then, oh, never mind. I can just undo it like a click with a click of my fingers. It's gone. It's undone. Everything's fine. Never mind. And it ended up being like, whatever. I don't like the ending now because it was bold. It was daring. It was heartbreaking. And I was like, this is such a good ending because it's real. It's what would happen in war. And then it was just, never mind. That and the fact, so like 4 books were waiting for this war to come to an end. Like there's this looming threat of these Fae for 4 books. And they're finally here, the war is happening. And I'm 20 pages from the end and I'm thinking, when is the war going to end? Because we're in the middle of it. Like it's peak war right now. We're in the middle of battle. People are dying left, right and centre. It's hopeless. And then how it ends, where I know it's set up like a spin-off series. It's set up that like I'm quite intrigued from that tiny bit of information we've got in the last chapter where that next series is going to go. But I just think it was so rushed and over so quickly, and it was like, okay, so we went through all of that for what? What I was just saying about this happened and it was bold. Like that happened for nothing, and then really the war happened for nothing. So I was just like, why are we here? Just to suffer? Do you know what I mean? Like I was so disappointed by the ending. I feel like this could have been a 3-book series rather than dragged out to 4 because like nothing was happening in book 4. There was a lot of repetition. So book 3 is like the starting off of some other romances. Like your main romance is solidified in book 2, right? So book 3 she opens up to other point of views and other romances, which is fine. I'm not against that. What I'm against, if you're gonna tell me fated mates are a thing, and then you're gonna tell me, oh, these guys, by the way, their fated mates died tragically centuries ago, and they've been struggling as alcoholics or not able to even feel their emotions for like a century, okay? And they have just been struggling, grieving, all this for so long, and all of a sudden you're going to tell me, actually, but they can find love again? No, they were married. They weren't fated mates, they were just married, okay? It's normal, and I would not be against it if it was that they'd lost their spouse, they were married, they'd lost their spouse, and they've now moved on and found love again. I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's beautiful. I just don't, if it's fated mates, that's your soulmate. You cannot tell me a fated mate can find love again. No, you should be living alone until you die and you join your fated mate in the afterlife and you live in the afterlife happily ever after. I hated that. And then there was the fact that obviously Rain is one of the characters who has a love interest, who has lost his mate, but he's so repetitive all the time about being like, no, I am grieving, I am an alcoholic, I'm grieving, I'm an alcoholic, no. And then you've got Locke, who's constantly just there was so much repetition every time you were in a new person's point, like, every time you were in the side characters' point of views, it was just getting very repetitive. They were telling you the same thoughts over and over and over and over and over again. And that's why I think if they just cut out all that repetition, sped up a couple things along, it could have been 3 books instead of 4. I realise I'm telling you all the bad stuff I feel about this series. Because generally when I think negatively about something, it is louder than the positive. But I did really enjoy this series and I think it's a really good Fae story. Like it's a really good like take on the Fae and all of that. And like I say, the main romance I did really like. And I just felt not everyone needed to be coupled up. Of the side characters, not every single side character needed to be coupled up with someone. Okay, we didn't need as many romances as we had because hardly any of them were fleshed out. Like most of them just came out of nowhere. Or like I say, their fated mate had died and they were like, I can find love again. And I just don't agree with that. If it's fated mates, the whole point is that is your one love that you get. That is it. It pissed me off. Okay, but I did really enjoy the series as a whole. It was so easy to read, so bingeable. Might not be the best writing I've ever read, but it was good. Like I did enjoy it. And I will be reading the spin-off series. I'm very intrigued as to how that's going to go. I just don't like how it ended. I think the ending was really disappointing, like I said, because a bold decision was made and then just she went back on it like that, and I was like, what's the point? And then it ended too abruptly and it made everything feel like it was done for nothing. So it was just unsatisfying. That being said, I think I'm going to take a slight break from fantasy this month. I think I have put Calabasas on my TBR. I did obviously my April TBR of 5 books, none of which are fantasy. I have had a Calabasas on because I think that's going to be a different feeling, but I think because it took me, I couldn't figure out how I felt about the Compelling Fate saga, and I couldn't figure out how I felt about The Fall and the Kiss of Dusk and The Songbird and the Heart of Stone the month before. I think I just need to take a back step on anything I need to have thoughts about. I just don't think my brain's there. I feel like a reading slump's coming on, possibly. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm looking forward to what I might read in April. It's been a really good reading year. This is obviously the least I've read so far this year, but it's been a really good year so far with my readings, with the books I've enjoyed, and yeah, we're just gonna keep going, trying to get through my physical TBR, trying to finish series that I'm in the middle of. That being said, that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already. Let me know what you thought in a non-spoiler way in the comments about the ending of the Compelling Fate saga if you've read it. Be very intrigued to know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!